Trevor, I'll start off by saying I want to talk about food, but as in preparation for this podcast, I was like, it's such a travesty if I just talk about food, or if I get Trevor to talk about food. Like, I think you're, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're at a point in your life where like food doesn't, you're not in the kitchen 16 hours a day like you once were. And I feel like you've just, going through, what you post online and your writing and talking to you in person, it seems like food is just one dimension of you now, and you've kind of grown into this multifaceted person.
Thank you for that.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
I mean, that's what it seems like.
That's nice. It's nice to hear. I think like growing up throughout all of our lives, we get pretty fused with an identity, right? And we all like, I am a chef and I am a podcaster. I am this, I am that. And then it's like when people think of Trevor Bird, and even me 5 years ago, I'd be like, I am a chef, and everything I would do would be revolved around this idea of me being a chef. So everything I did was revolved around food. But when you start to take off those lenses and start to kind of get a broader scope of the world and your consciousness, then you're kind of just a guy that likes to cook, that likes to do many other things as well.
And that's also very good at cooking.
Yes.
And that it's nationally renowned for cooking. So yeah, okay, sure. Too bad we don't get nationally renowned for being a good man or being a good father or any of those things.
Good one. I was on Top Chef Canada. There should be like top conscious male.
Canada.
Yeah.
Because top conscious males differ from Canada to the US.
Just throw triggers at them. Like
for sure.
Guys hitting on their girlfriends and shit, and see how everybody deals with it.
Yeah, completely neutral, completely there.
Yeah,
I love it. But you have you've weaved a narrative which I think is like super interesting, because to me, chefs are these very much like I worked in a kitchen for I don't know 7-8 years as a kid, dish boy to prep cook to sous chef, just you know how it goes on Hornby Island. And it's like chefs are these like esoteric, hidden, like highly emotional, highly burdened, highly reclusive people that kind of like don't let anybody into your lives. And as I go through and talk to you and go through like your socials and all that, I'm like, yo, this guy's just putting it out here. That seems very rare.
Yeah.
Was that very intentional?
I think so. I think that just being open and vulnerable and allowing people to see themselves in you, and just making people realize that everybody has their struggles, man. No matter who you are, from top to bottom, rich or poor, we all have our triggers. They're probably not that different from a heroin addict on the street to a billionaire in the seat at the top.
Whoa, that's intense.
Yeah, I mean, we all, like, no matter the collective consciousness, so to speak. We all have issues that we need to deal with and work through. It's just some people use avoidant behavior and some people use workaholism. So some people are going to end up at the top and some people are going to end up at the bottom. And even though they're at the top, they're still going to be insanely anxious. Even when you're at the bottom, you're insanely anxious. And when you can create a conversation with a community of people and a group of people where you can begin to act for mirrors for other people, and you can see yourself in somebody else. Like if somebody on the street started to talk about their struggles and what made them end up there, I wouldn't be shocked if you could be, hey man, I really, that resonates with me. Like there's some stuff in there, there's some childhood stuff and there's some stuff in there that really speaks to me, and I can definitely attach that story in you. And it's just about how we deal with it. So I think that, Brené Brown said it best. It's like vulnerability is power, and putting it out there.
Vulnerability is power.
Yeah.
Wow. I haven't heard that one, but I couldn't agree more.
Do you know Brené Brown?
I do not.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know what kind of demographic. I don't even know what demographic listens to this podcast at all. But she's a leadership speaker. And,
amazing.
She does a lot. She has a show on Netflix. It's actually pretty funny. You should check it out.
Okay. Plug. I love it.
How to be a better leader. How to be vulnerable. It's a good show.
That's awesome, man. I think that's the human narrative is so common. Like we are far less individualistic than I think maybe we realize. Like our struggles, like your struggle is not just your struggle. Your struggle has been had many times, and other people have navigated it around. I mean, I'm just speaking for myself here. I get stuck up in a microcosm of like, well, my life is my life, and all these details are very unique to me, and how I navigate them are very unique to me. And when the reality of the situation was, it's probably not. It's probably other people that have done this, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like reaching out when I first started down this path of I would say becoming an aware person, I thought to myself, this was when I first started opening my restaurant. It was I was struggling heavily because I wasn't a good manager. I was out of control of my emotions, and I'd say highly emotional people probably need the work the most to be able to actually get to the core of what's going on with them. And I would always tell myself, like, somebody in the world does this, right? Somebody can do this successfully. It's like, who? So through reading books and trying to learn from those people that have navigated it before, and reading those books about how they did it. And then it's about like what people speak to you. Like some people, Gary Vaynerchuk speaks to them, you know, they're like, yes, I love that drive and power. That guy stresses me the fuck out.
Just hearing him talk.
Oh my God.
Slow down, dude.
I'm not doing enough. What am I doing? This isn't right. Like it's just everything you do is just not enough in his mind. So, you know, it depends on like who you resonate with and who you want to hear from and who you want the information to come from. But I mean, there's plenty of people that I've had. So there's countless books on, if you are struggling in something, like go to the library and take out a book on it.
For sure. You've spoken before about your journey as a leader, your journey as a figure, even in the community. Like owning kitchens and owning any business is not easy. And if you don't know the restaurant industry, like margins are slim and it's tough to even break even in many situations. You have an award-winning kitchen, and you're now pushing the boundaries. I mean, whether it's, you know, Fable with Fable Kitchen, Fable Diner, MeatMe.
I actually don't own Fable Diner anymore.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, we split up.
Oh, hey, okay, all right. Well, you know what? Well, now with Fable Kitchen and MeatMe, either way, you've still birthed some beautiful like babies, some entities that are just like amazing and living out there and seem to be extremely prosperous, or at least, you know, we would recognize them as being that. But it couldn't have been like that always. And especially as a chef or as a young cook, like cooks in my mind don't have, you know, starting out, having been there, just being a young cook, don't have the skills to create award-winning businesses. How did you bridge that gap?
This reminds me, this kind of makes me want to take down the conversation down a path of a lot of businesses and a lot of careers and things we do. I believe, this is my belief. It's not true. This is a theory. So this is not like
all I say. It's everything I do is theory.
But I think that a lot of the stuff that we do is born in pain. Like like my journey through the kitchen and building a business and working so goddamn hard at building this restaurant culture is born from a place of needing acceptance, wanting a community, and not having it when I was younger. And a lot of people start going down their career paths without actually being aware of this. But, you know, next thing you know, the guy is like helping all these people, but it's because he has this like deep-seated nurture because he was never helped as a kid, and he needs to help people to feel validated and feel accepted. And so I think that a lot of businesses are started like that. And much of my whole life, I mean, I would say up until very recently, that's why I was starting businesses, because it was out of a place that I needed fulfilled within me, because I wasn't happy with myself and I wasn't happy with the things that I've done with my life. So it was kind of a way to prove to other people looking in and looking at it. So I was perceived as a success and I was perceived like I was doing all these things, but really I was fucking killing myself, and it was really goddamn hard. And then once I was like, man, like I don't need to be killing myself to be doing this, was a kind of a big moment for me.
It seems like I draw a lot of parallels with that. It seems like for me, I have this, like when you're young, when you have that fire and you're drawing from a place of angst, as you kind of touched on earlier, I feel as if like I'm trying to bend glass, right?
Oh, I know.
And you're like, either I'm going to bend this glass because I'm a god and I have the power to bend glass, or it's going to break everywhere into 1,000 shards. And like, I'm cool with either outcome. You know, like, it's like there's a hint of self-sabotage or like complete glory. And you're like, listen, it's one of the two and I'm down with whatever. And so you kind of keep down this destructive behavior, or at least that's kind of my interpretation of it. And I know in a kitchen environment, you know, it can literally feel like that, in terms of like, yeah, this dish is going to turn out fucking beautiful, or like we should just close our doors and tell everybody to leave.
It's a mental battle, man. Like on a daily basis, like you have a great service and you feel great, or you have like you could even have a great service and feel like shit afterwards. And it's like everybody loved the food and you're just like, fuck, I just worked 16 hours and I'm so tired and I hate everything right now. It's a mindset thing. You know, you gotta attack it with a positive intention and a good outcome.
So how do you approach things now? You have clearly gone through the mud. maybe you're still going through the mud. I feel as if somewhere along the line there was a little bit of a paradigm shift, and I feel like you're approaching things a different way. Maybe I'm wrong, or how are you approaching business now?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that, you know, we're all constantly always going through the mud. It's just about how you deal with that mud. You could say it's the worst thing in the world, or you could say, you know, this mud is fun.
This is fun. Let's play in it.
And it cools me down a little bit. So it depends on how you perceive it and how you move through it. But I would say that a lot of it is definitely guided through my values, more so before it. Not to say that I didn't have any values, but they just weren't clear. So I was just making moves based on perception, because you hear, you know, I'm going to attach it back to the chef identity, but you hear chef and then you think of Gordon Ramsay and he has like 400 restaurants and all of this success and fame, and you're like, I want that. How do I do that? Open more restaurants, do more things. But really, is that truly making you happy, or are you just like trying to be perceived as a success? As a
success, yeah. And convince yourself as you're a success as well.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, the first thing I have done, the work that I have done, the two big things that really have helped me guide my future in terms of like how I navigate things is, what do I want my perfect day to look like? And that is like for future work. And this is a good piece of journal writing or homework, but like, what do you want your perfect day to look like from the time you wake up in half-hour increments to the time you go to bed? And what is that perfect day? So if things get in the way of my perfect day, I don't like it. Like, I have a perfect day, and like, you know, if things get in the way of my schedule, I definitely have a hard time with that. I'm a little bit rigid in that respect.
Yeah.
But I definitely make decisions based upon that. And my definition of success, or what is your definition of success? Because everybody's is different. You know, it could be finances, it could be family, it could be whatever. But I'll tell you one thing, you have a kid and everything fucking changes. Everything. And that was probably the hardest, I'll say, blessing / stick in my wheels I've ever had.
Stick in your wheels?
Well, at the time, not having the awareness to deal with it, but just being like, oh, I'm having a kid. I'm going to keep on living my life the same way I am, just with a kid around, and not really being aware to the fact that, you know, you're responsible for raising a beautiful life that came from you, and you want to give him the best possible outcomes, where he's not carrying the same pain as we were carrying, you know, because you like you said, you want to bend glass, and we don't want to pass that on to him, and we want to try to take away that angst in him and give him the tools so that when he grows up, he can navigate that and be as successful as he can without having the anxiety, depression, whatever else, guilt, shame from not doing things properly. So, you know, and even with my wife, you know, I was just like, oh, like, I'm the breadwinner, so I'm gonna keep on working, and then watching her struggle and seeing her pain and being like, I need your help, and it's like, I am helping. I'm paying all the bills.
God
but like,
damn it, what's going on? Yeah.
And I definitely have have a relationship with money that definitely needs some work on, because I still really attach to financial gain, and, you know, I make the money, so I should be able to do whatever I want. But like, really, that's a really unhealthy narrative to have in your brain. Not
a good road to go down. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think, well, let me take a couple steps back here. Now that with the awareness of the kid, the wife, the responsibilities of employees and functioning businesses, like, you cut paychecks, man. Like, people depend on you, professionally and personally. With those two things in mind, how do you structure your perfect day? What does that look like now?
Way to put the pressure on me there,
of course.
People depend on you, man. Yeah, you know, I really don't ever associate with that. It's like I think of businesses as separate entities to ourselves. I don't think of them as like, this is my business. That's like, oh, that's the business there. That's a separate thing. That's not me. You know? Right.
Again, not attaching your identity to it.
Yeah. So it's like, I always talk about business as a third person. Like, I'll always be Fable, or, you know, Fable needs to do this, but it's not me. I don't need to do that. The business needs to do this. And it's like, all of your employees help that person, business, air quotes, business, do that. Oh. So I never really attach with like, I'm responsible for them. It's like, we are all responsible for the well-being of this thing.
Interesting.
Now I got kind of lost.
Sorry, no, but we'll come back to the question. But how do you employ that paradigm onto your employees? Like, how do you pass that on to them?
I think setting up systems and culture, and trying to hire the right people, and to say like, I mean, I hope that people are listening to this that used to work for me and work for me now. I think it's such an interesting perspective taking thing, because, you know, through through transition, there is so much hardship. And I just bought out my business partners like 6 to 8 months ago.
Oh, very recent. Okay.
Yeah. And, you know, there was a huge transition there. You know, like when people are used to a business running in a certain way and everything's going, but it's not quite working and things aren't being communicated properly, it jars them when you go to change things and when you make things different. So some people are like, you know, through transition, they're like, oh, you can't do this. You can't run this business. It's not going to be successful. And it's like, man, I've ran this business for 6 years and I've started 3 other businesses. And it's like, I knew myself, I knew how to do it, but like hearing that constantly from other people is like, shit. Like you kind of be like, you can set your boundaries with it, but it still affects you a little bit.
Of
you know,
course.
it's still coming at you. So you have to learn how to be pretty resilient and have some thick skin. But creating the right culture and hiring the right people that are like, yes, I see you trying to be the best man that you can be. I see you making the efforts. And with that means being vulnerable, admitting your own shit, not trying to have all the answers because nobody has all the answers, keeping your ego in check, and making sure that you have the team that is your cheerleader and you're their cheerleader as well. And I definitely think that it takes time to build and time to get there, but once it's leveled off, man, it's amazing. And learning how to lead like that has been a very long journey for myself. It's not like you wake up and you know how to do it. Leadership is learned. Leadership is a skill. Leadership is not something you're born with. I don't care what anybody says. Some people can have aspects of a leader, like born within them, or they can be raised with good values put on them to be a leader. But I mean, leadership training, that's coaches, leadership coaches, business coaches. That's why they exist.
No, I couldn't agree more. I want to jump back to the perfect day question because I'm really interested in that. But my curiosity is just jawing at me. I have a weird relationship with the concept of ego, right? Like
me too. Let's talk about that.
Like I was at a point where I was like, okay, this is a bad thing.
Right?
Like this is a bad thing.
Feel you,
like my this is like a separate person that is leading me down a wrong path. And like externally, like can validate, like you can validate a huge ego, but like internally, this is complete mayhem. This is not good. This is not sustainable. This is going to lead to destruction. We need to stop. And I went completely down this like ego dissolution route where I was like, oh no, like, you know, being sensitive to it in other people, being sensitive to it myself, like understanding when I was acting from a place of ego, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, just getting totally on my, you know, spiritual Hornby shit, which I loved. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute, this shit's actually necessary to a certain extent. You just got to tame it. You got to train it in some way. It's like having a bull mastiff dog or something. It's like that thing is powerful and it can't jump on people. But it's also beautiful in the same sense. I haven't honed in my relationship with ego yet. Where are you at with it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm on very much the same page as you. I think I don't know how old you are. I think I'm a decade older than you, if not a little bit older than you. And I just started this journey of like wondering what the hell the ego was, you know, and until I'm definitely a fan of psychedelics and you know, experimenting with them and seeing where they go. And I think that those definitely give an interesting perspective on your ego. And I definitely still have a hard time. Like I almost like disown my ego, you know, like you said, it's like, man, this guy's an
dirty,
asshole.
You know, like it's not good.
But like it does keep you safe and it does keep you alive. And I meditate on that a lot. And I like deep think on that a lot because I mean, I still am on more of the side of it's a hard thing to deal with, but it's about tuning into it and listen, like you're aware of it. So the fact that you can be present with how your ego shows up is pretty impressive at your age, because I mean, it took me 33 years to even be like, oh, my ego's a little out of control.
Yeah.
So, you know, just being aware of it. Step one, being like, oh, I have an ego, and I know where I'm rigid in my thinking, is huge. And for me, I still have a hard time seeing the benefit of where it comes in. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. No, I don't know that I agree. I don't know that I disagree either.
Yeah, I know.
Like it's like shit. It's one of those things, like it's such a mental exercise where you toss and you turn over it, because it's like I still haven't had the experience of building anything outside of like my ego that's been powerful. Like my ego's built some pretty cool things, and it's like it's built some cool people, and it's made me into a cool leader, and it's accomplished some things. But like outside of my ego, I haven't seen the firepower. And so you're like, well, I like firepower, you know, like I want juice, you know what I'm saying? And that's how I get juice. So it's like, well, how can I find, you know, it feels like that's just like nitrous octane, you know? And it's like, okay, well, how do I get like renewable energy in my ego?
Yeah, I think that that just like ripping off of that a little bit, I think it's more so just creating a healthy relationship with your ego and being and acknowledging it, because you never want to push away things inside of you. Like you never want to push your parts away,
right?
Your younger parts, your reactivity, your anger, your jealousy. Like you don't want to push that away. It's there to teach you something. It's there to show you something. Like when you're angry, it's because it's trying to tell you something. You're resentful of somebody. You're not having a conversation. You're not listening to yourself. You're not listening to your needs. So it's more about saying, I hear you. Thank you for the information, but I'm not going to act from that place. And being the aware, conscious man, moving forward will react from a grounded, open-hearted space of this is how the man in my life would deal with it, or the king archetype would deal with it.
Oh, here we go. How have your archetypes changed over the years? And for those that don't know, like maybe you can explain that a little bit.
Oh man, I don't know how long we could spend on this, but I mean, I don't really identify with too many archetypes, only because I have not like really. It's not like a place of interest for me,
dude. Me neither. I'm so glad that you said that. Honestly, man, like this is one of these things where it's like, oh, I'm this or oh, I'm that, so I act this way, or like, oh, I'm a Virgo, so I act this way. It's
no, we're not getting in the stars. And
like I truly like listen, like that's cool, and if that gives you like a sense of identity and a place of direction and a place to go from, like I'm all for it, man. But I'm looking at all these things that are like written down on these pieces of paper, and I'm like, none of this works. Like none of this works, and it's changed 100 times, like within the day.
Oh, you could be any archetype, really. Like it doesn't matter. So for me, it's like, you know, I hear about it. It just doesn't really resonate with me.
Totally.
I just use that as an example for the people that do associate with that. Like they'll get it. But I mean, just acting from an open-hearted space where you're your true, authentic self, and you're grounded, and you know what your truth is. Because at the end of the day, we all just need to speak our truth, and that's where confidence and ego comes from.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate here. Is like, how do you know what your truth is? Because listen, your mind's playing tricks on you, your ego's playing tricks on you, your physical self is playing tricks on you. So when you look yourself in the mirror and go to those deep depths and think, okay, what is actually pure? What's pure intention within me? What's truth within me? What's truth within the universe? Like, what is truth? Like, it's so hard. You were looking through 6 different layers of glass trying to figure out what the fuck that object is on the other side.
The truth is very personal. My truth is very different from your truth.
Of course.
And it could be on the same thing.
Of course.
So I'd say first, the truth is personal, and 2, use your values to help guide you.
Right. Food. Anyways, yeah. 100%, man. I couldn't agree more. Like so that ties in perfectly to the initial question, which was, what is the perfect day for you, and how do your values guide you there into determining what the quote unquote perfectly structured or perfectly experienced day is?
Yeah, well, this is for me. So everybody's, you know, some people are going to be very different than mine.
It's about you right now, man.
Yeah. So to get to the perfect day, it was more so, I was asked that 3 years ago, and that question really just opened my mind up to what is possible.
Really?
Yeah, because it's like, what is your perfect day, and how do you make your life live a perfect day every day?
Yeah.
And then it was like, shit, that's a good goal to work towards, right?
Okay. You're coming on my edge of my seat right now. Like,
so first is like establishing values. You know, values for me have changed a lot. I still struggle with it. I don't like finances as like one of my core values, but it is.
So crazy.
Yeah. You know, it definitely, finances help a lot, especially in this expensive ass city and having a family. And so, you know, some decisions I make are financially based. Like that's where I make a lot of my decisions from. Family is my first priority. It's definitely the biggest one. And does it take away time with my son? Does it take a time with my wife? Because being at the end of the day, when everything goes to shit and I'm down or I'm up, those are the people that I celebrate with. And no matter what happens, they're going to have my back, and that's my community. So myself is another, like my self-care and looking after my needs and what I need to go through is definitely a big value. And I think that's, not to put that shit on anyone else, but I mean, I think that should be everybody's value is what do you need before you take care of anyone else or before you take care of anything else in your life? What do you need? So for me personally, I have a pretty intense morning routine, which I will wake up between 5 and 6, which will be followed by a stretch and then workout of some kind for an hour, like cardio, run, spin class, something along those lines. Then breath work, Wim Hof, or
every day.
Yeah.
Damn.
Something along those lines for half an hour.
For half an hour?
Yeah, it usually takes 25 to 35 minutes. I mean, sometimes it's a little bit less, but I'll do some form of meditation in the morning. Like 90% of the time, it's breath work.
20 minutes of breath work will get you going. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's a powerful way to start your day. There's no question about it.
That's like 2019's Vancouver health and wellness version of like, I get up in the morning, I take a shot of Jack and I get going, you know, like it's honestly the same thing. Like I challenge anyone, go do, like 25 minutes of like good breath work and you're going to be
Google Wim Hof guided breath work on YouTube and like there'll be 100 videos there. And if you're curious about it, it is extremely powerful. And I started that 3 years ago. And I would say that is like probably one of the biggest shifts of consciousness that I've ever had.
Totally, man.
And then journaling, like a gratitude journal. I fall off of that one probably the most.
Yeah.
Like I go on and off with that one, but I definitely see the benefits of staying on it.
Yeah.
And that generally takes about 2 hours of my morning. And so I try to get that out of the way before my kid gets up or just as my kid and wife are getting up. And then I can dive into the day with my family, spend a little bit of time with my kids, send them off to daycare, go into work, make sure my team has what they need. Obviously that changes from day to day. Community is and another value of mine. I mean, I find so much strength with my community and from the relationships that I hone around. So I'll reach out to one of them for half an hour a day.
Wow.
And just have conversations like this, talk about consciousness and where does the world go and what are our values, and what do we want to build and what are we working towards? Yeah. So I definitely love like insight and deep conversation. And then, being a chef and working in restaurants, I feel compelled, like I have a hard time detaching from working nights. Cause I mean, when I first started taking weekends off, I used to sit at home on a Saturday night in like a pit of anxiety being like, I should be online right now. This doesn't feel right, and it took a lot of work to detach from that.
Right.
So just cause like I've been cooking for 25 years now and like 23 years of my life, that's what I was doing every Saturday night. So it was a hard thing to not get into. So yeah, I definitely am way happier when I have nights off with my family and I'm home and I can go to bed early. I love going to bed at like 9 o'clock. Reading something expansive, something that I'm learning about. I'm really into like deep trauma work and some weird shit and like psychology. So I generally read some books based on that and then go to bed at like 9, 10.
Love it, man.
Wake up and do it all over again. And that's kind of where my focus is. And if things fuck with that, I hate it. Yeah. So
yeah, you really notice it once you start to grab the wheel before you drive every day. When you don't grab the wheel before you drive every day, it seems extremely idiotic. And like I'm very similar. Like my shit goes off the rails, son. Like if I don't take that time in the morning, like it's literally it's everything. At this point in my life, it's probably the most consistent thing. Like
that's awesome.
It's just like nothing. I'm like so into it, like nothing can move.
That's amazing though for your age. How old are you?
I'm 23.
Yeah, when I was 23, I was waking up hungover, watching porn, beating off, and then like getting my day started. Maybe go to the gym for like a half-hour shitty workout, and total avoidant behavior. What's actually going on,
dude? Like once you just gotta taste a little bit of like I have an addictive nature for sure, and like as soon as I start feeling benefit, seeing benefit, like. Mentally is huge, dude. Like even though we're just a decade apart, like we grew up in very different times, man. Like my attention is it's so hard for me to be attentive as a young person. Like it's like this fucking thing is just like absolute killing.
The phone is the devil, man.
It's literally
I've
the
had
devil.
so many fucking meditations, and like I've had a day where my leadership coach told me to, he saw how much I'm wrapped up in doing things and getting things done, and he's like, take one day where you do nothing and get served on, where you put away your phone. You're not allowed to do anything. You can't even journal. Like you cannot do a thing. You cannot do yoga.
You cannot do a thing. You cannot do, like, you are chilling.
You're straight chilling. You can't read. Meditation is okay.
Yeah.
But you can't do anything, and people have to serve you. So I ran this by my wife, and she's like, "What the fuck? No." And I was like, "Okay," like give her some context on it, and then she was like, "Yeah, okay, I could get down with that." And so I did it, and you know, the biggest thing I came realization with is like technology is the goddamn devil.
It's crazy.
And like I journal about that quite a lot, and yeah, like my phone can throw me off my rails so fast because, you know, you're open to so much input. Instagram, Insta messages, DMing, fucking problems on email, problems with your businesses, people emailing
anything.
You, this isn't going to happen. Quote, you know, people asking for quotes, people asking for things from you. And it's like, you just give your energy to your phone.
It's crazy.
You're just passing off all your power to your phone. And there's a couple of good podcasts out there, just random ones on like how to set boundaries with your phone. But you know, what I'm really trying to hone in on is like, put your phone on airplane mode for 90% of the day, and you control it as opposed to it controlling you. Look at Instagram for 20 minutes and do what you need to on it a day, but don't just sit there and fucking scroll.
It's brutal, man. Like I think it was Cal Newport, I don't know, was like a digital detox, digital something of that nature. I don't know. I'm terrible. He was going through, one of his quotes was, the average person in a session of Instagram, like a session, like I open the app, I start going, sees 150 images. Like that's so unnatural, right? To see 150 images. Like right now there's one image that's like continuously playing in my eyesight. Like I'm not meant to see that many different situations, that many different contexts. Like it literally throws your brain into this crazy anxiety loop. It's wild. I had a workout this morning, and like I used to use a gym app, and I stopped using a gym app because I'm just like, you lift, you sprint, you sweat, you do whatever, you log it. And I'm like, why am I picking this fucking thing up constantly? You know what I'm saying? Like I think I don't know if it's the root of all problems. I don't think that technology is the devil. I just think that we as humans are like,
I say that half joking,
right?
I'm not dead serious. I'm not like, but I mean, the phone can create so many issues,
dude. It's unfathomable. I truly think, like, when I say the phone is killing us, like I really mean that. Like I think that a lot of suicides, a lot of like detrimental activity is rooted in what comes off that screen. I'm subject to it as well. We're all subject to it. I'm sure, like I literally have to be available pretty much constantly, and I'm sure that you do as well. So it's like setting boundaries on that is extremely difficult because it's such a slippery slope. It's insane. And so it's like, you know, for instance, Instagram is one. Like you run a very successful business. You're a figure. You're a public figure. Like there's a certain level of you. I don't want to say you need. I'm hypothesizing that you need, in order to maintain or continue to grow your business, to have that online exposure. What do you think?
I mean, I would say that like Instagram for me is a business thing. You know, like I share things with the world on it that I think that if I can affect one person with it,
it's viable.
Yeah. It's like, you know, if I can get one person to see that and be like, shit, I'm struggling with that too. You know, I share pretty vulnerably on there because, as I said, I think it's really important for us to see our struggles within one another to gain awareness and power, because some people aren't even aware of what's going on. But it's like, oh, he's talking about getting reactive in this certain situation. It's like, man, actually I get reactive like that too. Maybe I should look at that. That is my goal. Like that is like, oh, it just brings a little tidbit of awareness to how people are acting, because I am insanely reactive in many different situations. And a lot of people are just reactive. Like I used to just say the line, you know, that's just the way I am, where it's just, that is a cop out.
Yeah, that's a complete cop out, right?
Yeah.
I'm Trevor Bird and I am this person and so this person does not do that. That's not a way that I think. That's not a place that I go. No.
Yeah.
Which is just like, man, you're shooting yourself in the foot, bro.
Yeah. And the other thing I would say with about Instagram and everything is like, you know, in my industry, looking at other chefs and other people in the food industry, it's like looking at what they're doing can send me into a pit of anxiety. Like now I've definitely done a lot of work around that, and I get it. But I've stopped following a lot of people because it's like, oh, why am I not at this event? Why am I not doing what they're doing? You know, and it's like I'm like you said, like you're always like, I appreciate it. You're always like, oh, you're so successful, Trevor, and you have all these successful businesses and this and that. It's like I still got struggles, man. And it's like, you know, it looks good from the outside and for sure, but I mean on the inside, it's still a shit fight, and it's still super hard to get everything going. And you know, of course, we always want to be part of everything, which is goddamn impossible. And there's so much fucking information out there.
So much, yeah.
That's we're always like, oh, why am I not there?
And
why
events and
yeah. Yeah, and like again, like that attachment thing of like I put my value on my business, and I'm only valuable as a person if I'm here and there. And it's like that's another important part about detaching from these different parts of you, you know. So yeah, I mean, social media is a really challenging thing to navigate. Really challenging.
How do you, as a chef now, as a business owner, like how do you? We're very similar in that we're very serious people. Like I feel as if you're going to do something, you probably want it done very well. And you probably want to, you know, put a lot of time, effort, energy, and you want a good product. This is kind of what your work would show. And there's some level of perfectionist. There's a perfectionist aspect to that. There's also like a little bit of a obsessive quality to that as well. Now you seem like you've changed a little bit, and as someone who identifies with those earlier traits that I just mentioned, in terms of doing things that you're proud of and standing behind them, et cetera, you seem like you're just having a lot more fun these days, in just like your interactions and how you speak, how you present yourself. As someone who is in that spot of seriousness, how are you having more fun? Like you just seem to be performing just as well, but having more fun.
Thanks, man. That's a really nice compliment, actually. So I really appreciate that.
No problem, man.
Like I appreciate the fact that I mean, I guess I'm appreciating the fact that I'm actually putting that energy out there, and I'm appreciating the fact that you can comment on that, and that you did comment on that. So thank you.
No worries.
I think the first time I met you was at the Breathwave class.
Yeah.
And that is a fucking wild experience. You know, you go and you're like, oh, what's this about? Like I have one guy coming, I think. Are you going to the next one?
I don't know when's the next one.
December 15th.
Okay. All right.
I'll have to get a ticket. I invited this one guy, and I don't think he knows what to expect. You know, he's like, yeah, breathwork. It's like a workout. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of like an emotional fucking workout for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So anyway, in that class, I've had so much heavy issues to deal with over the past 3 years. I mean, my whole upbringing as a kid has been extremely traumatic, extremely unsafe. And when I say that, I mean, you know, abusive household, tons of neglect, tons of physical, emotional, avoidant abuse, not having a father around, having an abusive brother around, like just the list goes on and on and on. Yeah. And, you know, I've really been attacking this stuff for the past 3 years in therapy and trying to move through it. And it was bogging me down. And those are the things that made me super serious, made me a perfectionist, made me very, I'm going to say rigid. Because if I was not that way, I was going to get hurt. Yeah. If I was not a perfectionist, I was going to get abused. If I was not, if I didn't do this food fucking perfectly, I would be a failure. Yeah. You know, and that's where I put all my value. And from everybody should be in therapy. That's my belief. And from working through all of these triggers and all of these emotional setbacks and my anxiety, and I would say I was destined to be born with anxiety and a high level of anxiety. Wow. I was born addicted to a steroid that my mother was on because she had a crazy autoimmune skin rash. So it's like the second that I was born, it's like I was anxious. Yeah. You know, and then growing up in a difficult family, it was like more anxiety, not feeling safe, not having parents that could be there for me and hold emotional space for me, more anxiety. It's like my anxiety has been an overwhelming thing for 35 years. So actually diving into that anxiety and like attacking that straight on has been the most fucking hard thing I've ever done, but the most liberating thing I've ever done. And in that breathwork class, my whole life's pattern unfolded in 10 minutes.
Wow.
And I was, at the end of it, I was asking, like, where's the space for joy? Where's the space in my life to just like be happy and accept all of this great shit that I have going on around me? And I think since then it's been a pretty big shift, and I feel a lot more positive emotions than I do negative emotions. And I feel a lot more joyous, and I feel a lot more like I can handle challenges a lot better. I can handle people's emotions a lot better. I don't get as reactive. I can take it on the chin. I can see scenarios objectively and not put my own shit into it.
Where is the space for joy? Can we just go to that a little bit?
Yeah.
What is that? So I understand what you're saying in terms of like, my life is so jam-packed with like failure, anxiety, stress, etc., emotional experiences, failed endeavors, successful endeavors, shit. Where's the space for joy? So you had that realization. You're like, oh my gosh, here's a pattern that I'm in. It's
my wife has always told me, she's like, I want to have more fun with you and I want to laugh with you more. And
dude,
it's like, fuck.
What a killer fucking thing to hear, dude.
Right?
Like, it's like, so now what? So, okay, Trevor, you got to create space for fun.
Well, so the thing is, it's just about bringing the awareness piece to that. It's not like you have to do anything with it, but it's just, oh man, like when you make those neural connections in your brain of, wow, I have not really felt joy in a very long time. That being said, I have been working through a ton of shit. So, you know, our system is loaded with emotional experiences from the past. And when we actually give space to these to express themselves, I don't want to get too heady. I mean,
go, man.
When you give yourself permission and you create a safe community and a safe space to actually process these emotions that you are pushing down and you are repressing, you make more space to be able to put other emotions there. So, you know, from what I'm hearing from you, it's like you suffer from a lot of this stuff as well. You know, like you have a lot of anxiety and a drive to perform and get things right.
Angst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, like there's nothing wrong with that. It's just what you were taught. And when you can actually get to the underlying pieces to that of why you're like that and like what's wrong, like if you don't perform this way, what's going to happen and what's your belief behind that? You know, there's a safety thing there where it's like, if I don't do this, I'm not going to feel safe. And that's like, for me, it's like, if I did not perform perfectly, I was going to get physically abused. So, and that was the belief that I had up until I was 33, where it's like, wait a minute, you process that, you get really fucking angry at the situation because you're like, you fucking assholes, you could not even provide this for your own child. Process that rage, whatever that looks like. Scream, yell, punch a pillow, throw things.
Breath waves crazy.
Yeah, fucking right it is. You know, like and become aware of those core emotions that are there, and then it's like, okay, you can actually now see those situations where when you see your perfectionism or your anxiety creep in, it's like, I see you.
Yeah,
I know what you're doing, and it's not the truth anymore.
Yeah,
we're safe.
Yeah.
You know, and I do a lot of script reading to myself, and I actually just took it off my phone recently because I feel like I've healed through it, but I've had a manifestation thing on my phone where just stating that I am safe, I'm not in control of everything.
Yeah, dude, that's like,
I do not let situations I can't control my emotions. You know, and just like, when things get out of control, it's like, take deep breaths and just recite like these things that you write down to yourself to keep yourself safe in a regulated environment. Because if not, I'm sure you can feel this, your anxiety starts to like creep up, and then you start to act from that fearful, anxious space, which is can create a lot of disconnection from people, and it can be pretty unhealthy.
Yeah, it's not intelligent. It's just not a smart thing to do. So it's I don't think people like understand the truth behind like reciting something or scripting something to yourself. Like what that means is that you are so entrenched in like a way of feeling, a way of thinking, that like you have to go as far as repeating something that means something deeply to you as many times as humanly fucking possible to get it through your head. Like people don't understand how entrenched, like you are trying to break down brick walls that are in like
this is the best thing I've heard, right? It's like your brain and your psyche is like a jungle, right? And we from a young age have been taking the same trail in that jungle for 30 years, 23 years, right? So of course that trail is perfectly carved out for us. It's like our reactivity shows up. It's because we know that reactivity. That's how we've been reacting our whole fucking life. But when you start to write yourself a new story is when you start to go off trail and you start to cut through the bush. And the first time the awareness is just like, oh, there's another way. And when you start to see that other way and you start to try to take that thing, it's not going to go perfectly.
No.
You're going to be crawling over shit, trying to figure it out.
Bushwhack.
But the more that you repeat those things to yourself, the script to yourself, or just be aware of what's going on and choosing to take that other path, it's just going to get more honed out and more honed out and more honed out. And then, in another 3, 5, 10, 15 years, you're going to have a whole new tool and a whole new pathway to get to the same spot.
And it's not going to take the same amount of work. It's going to be a beaten down trail.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's always so it's one thing to work with these ideas within yourself. It's one thing to create space within yourself. You now have a task in front of you of creating this space for your employees, your chefs, your cooks, your front of house staff. Like creating this and having this awareness within yourself is beautiful and an accomplishment in itself. But in an industry, such as the restaurant business, which from my experience can be super toxic in the back end, like tough. How do you do it there?
Oh man. So this is there's two things I want to say. First thing is just one tool that I use that I just want to share with everyone. So hopefully maybe this people can take something from this is whenever I sit down with staff for one-on-ones, just the catch up of what's going on, whenever they share feedback, I always repeat a script saying, I'm strong, I can do this. I'm strong, I can do this. Because it's really hard it's hard to receive feedback, especially when you're sitting down with 3 or 4 people in a day and they're just going to pound you with like, this isn't right, you're not doing this right. And it's really hard not to wear that personally, but it's not about you.
No.
And so to detach from that, I'm strong, I'm safe. I'm strong, I'm safe. So when they're telling me the feedback, I'm constantly telling myself this, and that keeps me from buying into this is my fault. Look what I did. I can't believe I did this. I didn't do anything, and a constant reminder of that keeps me safe in that space and allows me the space to hear their feedback without me putting my shit into it. And that's what I mean by put my shit into it. So that's one strong tool of what I use almost on a daily to weekly basis, and where a script comes in handy. And the second thing is that, yes, like you just said, is creating the space within you to be able to hold space for other people. I mean, I'm at the point now where I feel this calling to create more of a movement in the industry, because a lot of people, like you said, the industry, I'm going to go as far as the world has a lot of angst and has a lot of, what was the word you used?
I don't know. Turmoil. I don't know what I said.
Yeah. Like everything, like a lot of industries have a lot of hurt. A lot of entrepreneurs feel very isolated, and I have done enough work on myself where I feel that I can hear other people's experiences and help guide them through some shit only because of personal experience. I have been there. I have been so deeply attached to my identity that, I'm reactive as hell and I'm emotional as hell. So I've worked through these things, and I feel like I can create a space for other people to work through that. And it's just a safe space where you can share vulnerably, and we can hold a space for that. Because I mean, being an entrepreneur or being somebody that's on their own, and chefs, it's like, we tell ourselves stories that I'm alone. Nobody else wants to hear my shit. Nobody else knows my struggle. And that's what I guess your shadow is going to say to yourself, like, nobody wants to hear you. You're alone in this. You know, you don't have a community.
Yeah.
You can't do this. But just being in a space where you can share some of your deepest secrets, or maybe not deepest secrets, but challenges, like, hey man, like, I can't stop fucking drinking after service. And it's hard. And like, or it's like, I have crazy anxiety during service. It's like, you tell that to your chef who's not ready to save space for that. He's gonna be like, I don't fucking care.
Holy
fucking
shit.
Work.
Yeah.
You know, so being able to hear that and be like, what's that like for you? Is very healing.
So you shared a couple of ways of how you actually create that environment that fosters this type of, I'm just going to say, healthy behavior. Is there anything else on like that you see in the kitchen or the restaurant industry, front of house, back of house, that it's just like, this is not the way that we should be doing things that's conducive to, like, I think that's conducive to personal development. Like, I think that we need to rethink our businesses in a way. Like, the only way to have a truly effective business, I think, again, a theory, is to like disguise them as personal development companies, or disguise these companies. Like, in what we're really doing here is we're developing humans. Like, that's really it. I think that's the only way to win and like create that community, that sense of camaraderie, like higher human ROI, et cetera, ultimately affecting your bottom line. But it's just like, you need to build humans and help them and like understand them. So how do you do that in a restaurant industry?
Yeah, I think that working on yourself is one. Get a therapist, get a coach, get somebody, like, just work on yourself.
Sure.
Learn your triggers, learn where you're reactive, learn where you get emotionally hijacked, where you just can't, if you're ruminating is a great piece of awareness. When you start ruminating, there's a lot of strength there. That is a trigger for you that you need to work on. You know, like, I can't believe this guy said this to me. I can't believe this guy said this to me. Keep on repeating yourself. I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. It's like, that is what needs to be looked at. Right. So becoming aware of what your triggers are is like a big one. And then just showing people that it is okay when they speak up. You want to make them feel safe,
right,
with their experience, acknowledge their experience, where, you know, I have countless amounts of times that I've dealt with extremely well, and I'm getting way better at than I used to be, because now I have the emotional capacity to do it. But then you have these scenarios like in the back where a couple of years ago, a decade ago, where it was like, hey chef, like, this guy didn't talk to me in a very nice way. It's like, yeah, well, he's a better cook than you, so shut the fuck up. You know, it's like,
shit.
Yeah. So you want to make sure, and that is not going to create a safe environment for your employees to share experiences.
Not at all.
You know, but if somebody comes up to you and says, I noticed that one of our cooks is speaking to somebody else in a very, derogatory way, and it's kind of scares me a little bit. It's like, okay, tell me more about that. What's happening? What's their experience? And then making it be like, okay, I'm gonna address this situation. And then you talk to that employee and be like, hey, I've heard this, and this. What's going on with you? Hear their side of the story. Like, just so you know, like, when you call people, bitches, or,
whatever it may be,
like derogatory terms that I don't even like saying, that's not okay in this place of environment. And if you do that again, we're going to have to let you go, or whatever, right? But it's just like, setting the boundary of like creating that space where people have voices, and you are keeping it safe, where nobody feels intimidated or scared or shamed or criticized or judged. Which are big ones.
Trevor, I don't know a whole lot about TV, but you do not seem like the type of chef to be on Top Chef Canada. That just like, it blows my mind, man. Like, you seem like this super freaking wholesome, and like, I don't know anything about your experience there, but like, you just seem like not the guy that would go out and just like kill that entire series. Like, how
kill? I mean, I lost twice, so
okay,
be easy on the kill.
Like, who cares? Like, at the end of the day, like, I don't know. Was it a different person, or like, I don't know.
Yeah, of course, man. They were like when people ask, can people change? It's like 100% people can change. Right. When I was on it in 2012, I was fucking lost in life. Lost. I didn't know who I was. I was very uncomfortable with myself. I didn't know where I was going. I had no direction. So yeah, that was definitely like, I was severely fused with my chef identity, and I was like, I'm going to do this. And I had zero expectations when I was on in the first one, and it turned out that I did really, really well, and that helped me bring me down this path, and I'm so thankful for it. Where in the second one, I still didn't know who I was. But I was wrapped up in all of this perception of success. And yeah, that was a hard goal. Like my brain was not in cooking at that time. And, you know, like I'm like at the end of the day, I mean, if I put my mind to something and I really try, it's like, yeah, I mean, I've been cooking for 25 years. I've worked in some really fucking good restaurants. I know how to cook extremely well. I mean, I just think that there's way more to life than 18 hours a day in a kitchen.
Yes, there is. Off of, I guess one thing I have to ask is like, because there's no way I can have Canada Top Chef in front of me and not ask, so we talk about like law of diminishing returns. I think that exists in cooking as well, as a person that cooks like at a 5 out of 10 level, you know what I'm saying? Like basic things, I'm there. Slightly advanced things, I'm still there. I'm not a cook, I'm not a chef. What's the law of diminishing returns in like cooking? Like for instance, like every guy and every girl listening right now is like, okay, all right, boyfriend's coming home, girlfriend's coming home, I'm gonna make XYZ. What's the one thing you can kind of like continually go through where it's like, it's not that hard to fuck it up? You like, and it's still super fucking good. Like, let's be honest, like let's just get past like, I don't know, spaghetti and meatballs, you know what I'm saying? Like what's that one dish for you, man? I gotta ask you.
I don't know, man, that's a hard question, but I would say like my whole philosophy on cooking now is like stress-free cooking. It's like, how do you make cooking as stress-free as possible?
Okay, yeah.
Especially for home cooking, because like nobody wants to, like when you're entertaining, you don't want to be like in the kitchen. Like when I get in the kitchen, I get super intense and not very friendly. So I'm not like, oh guys, how's it going? Yeah, sure. You know, like I'm like, oh, shut up, I gotta get this thing done, and trying to get everything done so methodically. But I mean, I would say that like a good power move is
that's it. What's the power move?
Set your oven to 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Get a nice big piece of fish, olive oil, salt, and then just like bake it in the oven for 200 degrees Fahrenheit. That's very, very low temperature.
Yeah.
It's like the temperature of a hot tub.
Yeah.
So you just like put the fish in there and just let it chill out for a bit. Saute up a bunch of vegetables. By the time you're done, if your fish is in there for 20 minutes or an hour, it's not going to overcook. It's going to be perfectly cooked. And then you just like put it on top of your vegetables and you're good to go. Yeah.
Cheat code. I love it. I love it. So how do you, I know we're scarce for time here, but I want to ask, I'm a little bit environmentally friendly, quite a bit environmentally friendly. And so when I have a weird relationship with like food and grocery shopping and like things of that nature.
Yeah.
Like I wish I just had the money to like go to a farmer's market every day and just like go. Like that's like we have our own like parameters of success. That's like literally my parameter of success. Like I'm gonna go spend $1,000 at a grocery, like at a farmer's market. Let's go. Like I'm about to throw some money around here. Like that's one of the things for me where I'm like, all right, I'm good, I've made it. Anyway, so I have a weird relationship with that. I hate going to like a superstore and like dealing with the like level of like produce there and things like that, and like even the little things like you go buy cilantro and you throw it in a little plastic bag and like it probably goes bad. How do you approach all that stuff, man?
Plastic is my nemesis. Like
that's what I'm saying.
Like in the food world too, it's just fucking everywhere.
Because everything is like double packaged.
I know, it's brutal, man.
So how do you like personally at home, like how do you shop? Like this is a selfish question.
Yeah. MeatMe is a great way to shop for your meat.
plug, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but even that comes in like individually vac packed plastic bags. Like you just can't escape it, man. And like I'm not the person to I'm aware of it. I try to minimize it. I try to minimize buying my kid plastic toys, except for Nerf guns. Damn.
Nerf guns are sick.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like whatever.
Yeah, well, kind of. But this styrofoam, everything about them are shit. But so plastic is a hard thing to navigate these days. I know there's initiatives, but man, it breaks my heart, no question.
Damn, I was hoping. I was like, if anyone has an answer, it's him, because like I don't know how to get around it.
I saw this paper that's like coated in beeswax. That's kind of cool.
All right,
and it's like environmentally friendly, but
I'm into it. I
do want to plug in one more thing though. But like my initiative for 2020 is to host some masterminds once a month for the food and beverage industry out of my restaurant. To create a safe environment where entrepreneurs, industry people can come in, and it would be limited to a certain amount of people
for sure
every month, and just have an open mastermind roundtable discussion around what the challenges are, what you want to build, how can a group support you in building what you want to build, because at the end of the day, whether we're trying to build our family, trying to build our business, trying to build whatever, we're all trying to build something. We could all use support. And like I said, I feel that I'm at the point right now where I can definitely facilitate a room for that. So that's kind of what I'm building up to.
Cool, man. What's the one thing that you think the restaurant industry in Vancouver could use? Is there an overarching message that you think our industry is missing right now?
Good question. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to. I just think that we should all be aware more of what we're doing. I mean, I think that there's a lot of initiatives in the industry right now based around mental health and bring awareness to heal the industry, so to speak. And I think it's amazing. But the big but there is that the ways of which we're going about it could definitely be improved upon. And I think that creating the safe space for younger cooks and younger people in the industry to be able to share vulnerably and share their experience, and have a chef that is aware enough to be able to hold a space for them is kind of like what needs to be done. My belief is that's what needs to happen.
Do you think that Vancouver is a world-class food city?
Out of 10, like a 6.
What needs to happen for it to be a world-class food city?
That is a whole other podcast.
A whole other podcast.
Yeah.
It totally is.
But I just got back from Australia.
Ah.
And that, like, Melbourne is a complete world-class food city.
What makes it a world-class food city?
The amount of people willing to go out and eat, the price of food, how sustainable it is in terms of like how people are willing to spend money, and the quality of food on every like the world, every chef that has something good set up there is fucking delicious.
Amazing.
Yeah.
2 things here and then we'll wrap. I want to, so you mentioned hosting masterminds and things of this nature, which is awesome, and bringing that community together. Should I have like 6 questions just popped into my head, but we'll go with this one. What is your what's your end game? Like I come from an athletic background. Like the clock starts and the clock stops, and there's a winner and there's a loser, and those are easy to define. In business, I don't think that we have like an end game. I ask myself that question all the time. Like, what's success? How do you define success? What are you working towards? And for a person like you, that's just, again, bought partners out or exited businesses or started new ones. Like, Trevor, what's the end game? What are the parameters of your game?
What I'm hearing is, what's my end game in business?
In business,
Yeah.
in business, yes.
Create a business that can help me facilitate the life that I want to lead.
Yeah, that is the best answer.
I can't give it any more than that, you know? Like I know food and beverage extremely well. I know I don't want to be doing certain things in the food and beverage industry. I know there's things that I do want to be doing. And yeah, it's just like, you know, like I said, my daily routine, don't fuck with it.
Don't fuck with it. I love it. Yeah, you're right. I mean, no, that is the best answer. I know it is. I think that, yeah, I'm a numbers guy like yourself. Like I get caught up in that for sure. And so for me, I try to find something to grasp onto and work towards and think, this is the North Star. This is the North Star. And a lot of times the North Star is not very clear. A lot of times it's cloudy outside. So it's like, well, we got to find a way to probably navigate from our core morals and values to actually still go that direction, even when there are clouds out there.
You summed up this podcast very well in that like one little tidbit.
Damn it, Josh. That's supposed to be Trevor's line. Come on,
no, I can't do that. You did that.
Thank you. My last question for you would be, shit, man, I got to ask too. I'm sorry. What in the restaurant industry here in Vancouver specifically, what do you have to do? Because I feel as if we're a little bit segregated. Maybe I could be wrong in that. What do you have to do, you personally or Fable or the businesses you're attached to like foster community more? What does that mean to you? Like, I feel like Vancouver doesn't have that voice.
Yeah, I'm that's, you know, I don't have full clarity on that.
For sure.
I'm trying to build it. Through these masterminds. Like, this is step 1. This is baby step into it and see what it can turn into. I have a very foggy vision of what I want to build. Excuse me. But by the end of the day, I mean, you know, it's about creating good communities with people where people can share experiences and
Yeah. It's no clear answer. What's your one core, if you have one core takeaway, what's the one core narrative? What's the one core, if Trevor Bird is a book and I just put that book down, I'm like, what did I really get from that? What's your one message? Let me just distill you down to this one little thing.
One message, look at thyself.
Yeah. As a chef.
Yeah.
As a human, as a man.
As a human, as a man, as a woman, as a child, as everything. Just look at yourself.
Cool, man. Awesome. We'll leave it there. Thank you, Trevor.
Thanks, man.
Oh shit. Hold on. Keep it right there. Don't stop. Don't hit that. Thank you for the jam. Thank you for the black pepper jam. I almost forgot. I was gonna plug it at the start of this. We went out, got some black pepper jam from Trevor at this farmer's market.
They came and saw me in Abbotsford. They drove like an hour.
Oh my gosh. Listen, if you are eating meat and potatoes or whatever you're eating that's some bland ass food, go throw that on there. I'm sure you can get it somewhere at trevorbird.ca.
Yeah.
I'll plug you for, man. That shit was amazing.
You can pick it up at Fable, but thank you.
Pick it up
it's
at
like
Fable.
Available in like 40 stores across Vancouver. I don't know which ones though.
For sure.
Yeah.
So definitely go get that. Trevor, where do you want people to connect with you if you would like them to even connect with you?
Chef Trevor Bird on Instagram. You can definitely see all my motivational fun
rah shit. Yeah.
You can see all that shit on there. You get pictures of, little insight into my life. I don't even know any other ones.
That's
LinkedIn
all right.
professionally if you want any consulting done or anything.
Cool, man.
And yeah.
Cool. Trevor, thank you so much for your time, man.
Yeah.
Go get a dinner, a reservation at Fable.
Boom.
Sounds good. Thanks.